And good Friday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majeski back with you here, bright eyed, bushy tailed, and ready to dive into this update here as we do our simulcast thing here on both YouTube and on Facebook. Good morning, everybody. I know folks are all talking and chatting and getting ready for this winter storm. This is a little bit better, I think, than last week. And last weekend, we were talking about ice storm. We were so worried about, widespread power outages. We did have part of the state that had that. We had, 5 or 6 counties that got hit pretty good, but fortunately, it was not as big as it could have been. I don't think people realize how close we came, but we dodged that bullet. But this time, we're talking about snow. And this is going to be a little unusual for us, folks. We're going to talk about that in this update. Now, before we get rolling into this, for folks who are going to come in after the live broadcast and everything else, if you're on Facebook, please make sure you go to our main Facebook page and give us a follow. And if you're watching over on the YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, but also make sure you hit that notification bell. If you do not hit that notification bell, you will never get alerted on my forecast updates. A little lesson I learned from my last page, which wasn't as successful. So just want to go ahead and push that out there. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about our current conditions out there right now. It is plenty cold out there. There's no question about cold air. And this is going to be a thick cold air, folks. We're not going to talk about any chances of wintry mix here with sleet or freezing rain. We're not talking about any of that stuff. We're talking about plain old snow. What's going to be weird about this one is just how cold it's going to be with the snow. So when the temperature is colder and it's precipitating, the ratio for snow changes. I'm going to show you that here in a second. But right now, we're currently sitting at 18 degrees up there in Blairsville, 22 down here in Canton, looking at 19 degrees here over at Calhoun. Toccoa checking in at 23. We got 26 over in Winder, so very nippy out there. You're seeing a little bit of these light returns out there. This is not our storm. This is just some flurries, maybe making down very, very dry returns up there. Storm has not taken shape just yet, but that's going to be happening going in for tonight and going in for tomorrow. So today is the day for preparations, okay? Plan on being snowed in for the weekend. Once this stuff starts tomorrow, the ground temperatures are very cold. They've been cold all week. That's not going to be a problem. We're going to have icing on the bridges, overpasses, and on the roads. They're going to become very icy, very slick, and probably stay that way through Monday. Okay, we do get above freezing on Monday. That's expected. We'll get some melt and some clearing off at that time. But right now, just plan on being, snowbound here for the weekend. And again, not everybody's going to get the same amounts of snow. Okay, it is not going to be that way. Okay, the eastern zones are going to be the favorite zones. You see where the winter storm warnings are up in this area. Okay, in this area, you're looking anywhere from 2, perhaps getting up to as high as 5 inches of snow. Areas here in the east and the west, which I'm not optimistic on, to be honest with you, less than 2 inches. So we are for dusting to less than 2. So some people are going to feel like they got robbed, and some people are going to say, wow, look how pretty it looks outside, okay? And again, as we've seen with these snow bands, it depends on how the snow band's set up and everything else. Again, this is kind of a unique setup for us. This is not what we traditionally see for a snow event across North Georgia, and the fact that it's going to be a dry, fluffy snow. It really is. It's you may not be able to make a snowball with some of this stuff or snowman because the water content's going to be on the low side here. That's just want to throw that out there, trying to set the expectation for everybody. All right. Now the radar here out there this morning, clear right now, but tomorrow morning we'll probably be talking about a different looking radar as we'll be tracking some of the snow. Now, that radar there at Peachtree City shooting up to the north, I'll probably be switching over to the Greenville radar too, because it's such a long way. And again, the radar return is going to be fairly low to the ground. Okay, that beam's going to probably overshooting it a little bit. It'll be a little bit difficult, but we'll look at the composite radar like we did during the last event and kind of track everything that's going on with that. So again, I do want to point out the whole ratio thing here. Again, the liquid ratio, when it's the temperature is sitting around, freezing 32, 34 degrees, it's a 5-to-1 ratio. You might get 3 inches of snow there. Standard temperature, when it's like, 29, 30, 31 time in there, you're looking at a typical 10-to-1 ratio. So a half inch will get you like 6 inches of snow. We're talking about temperatures sitting in the mid-20s and maybe dropping off there. So that ratio spikes to a 15-to-1 ratio. So the snow amounts might surprise some people depending on how this thing sets up and what kind of moisture we have available that comes into this. So it is possible some places may actually get a little more snow than what's being advertised because of that ratio issue that we're talking about. So that's just something I'm throwing out there just for your education here for this morning. All right. Now let's go ahead and break down the models. We're going to look at all this. I got a lot of requests on these. We're going to compare all of them. We're going to look at all. They're all fairly in decent agreement here, but we're going to look at all of them here like we did yesterday. A lot of folks got a lot of positive feedback on that. So we're going to go ahead and go down that rabbit hole here again. We're going to look at the NAM. This is our latest 6Z run. The 12Z will be running here in about an hour. We'll get the new one in here. So let me back this up here as I was looking at it earlier. So again, looking at your time here, look at it throughout the whole day today, nothing. So you got all the time in the world today to do everything you need to do to get ready, get a few groceries in you if you need anything like that. I'm sure a lot of folks have leftovers from last week, so it shouldn't be too big a deal. But as we go into the overnight, that's when we'll start seeing things begin to change here. As we go ahead, look here forward here. We got the snows here coming across North Georgia here, coming in as we head toward the 3 o'clock hour. So after 1 o'clock in the morning, we'll start seeing that snow start to erupt here. Okay, the darker blues is where the heavier snow is going to fall. But again, we are seeing a little bit of returns over here across the western zones. Here is our polar vortex right back here. Very cold core here. And just off the shore there, that's our low forming just off the east coast there. That's going to blow up as basically these two pieces of energy are going to kind of merge together and be a big storm and kind of going out to sea. So watch it again as we go through the day. And it's also going to be turning breezy and windy with this, folks, because as that low's developing off the coast, we're going to have a pretty decent pressure gradient. So as we go into the afternoon, some of these winds could get upwards of 35, 40 miles per hour. 2 o'clock, we're looking at pretty heavy snows here across the eastern zones here, showing up here on the NAM. And this goes ahead and continues on into the evening. And then by the time we get into the evening hours, we're pretty much wrapping things up. Everything's wrapping up, and we're going to get settled for a cold night. Now, low temperatures on Sunday morning. Really going to be dictated on how much snow we get on the ground, what's going on there at the time. And Sunday, Monday lows may be colder than what I'm currently advertising. Just want to throw that out there for you. So that right there is the NAM. That pulls on out to sea, and we're good to go. Let's look at the American GFS. This is also the 6Z run. Again, noticing it's coming in here at about 1 o'clock in the morning. Notice the darker blues, again, favoring those eastern zones. So, again, you guys in the west, that's probably the areas that makes me the most nervous. Is you got the winter weather advisories, and some folks might say, hey, I didn't get a single flake. I'm telling you right now, that's definitely a possibility. It is definitely a possibility. So the eastern zones are definitely the favorite zones. That's been very consistent on that here over the last, few days here watching this. Okay, so this moves on off. Again, looking at that into the evening hours, and then we're done. All right, let's look at the Canadian model. Here goes the Canadian one. All right, so we're going to look at this one here. This one, it was always been favoring a little more westerly with it. So it's showing, it's showing some snow flurries back over Alabama there. So again, look where the dark blue is going into tomorrow afternoon. Again, those eastern zones. So again, tens of miles here makes a big difference on who will get the heavier snow bands and who doesn't. There does appear to be a little bit of upper level energy in this. We sometimes refer to it as a little like a meso low pressure system that may enhance that snow, may tap some of that Atlantic moisture and kind of throw it back into that area. So that's something to watch because like all the models are kind of indicating that little stretch there. So this low pulls on off, and then we're pretty cold there, and it clears on out. Here goes the European. Last one. I promise. Last one here on the models. Again, you see the time on there, 1 o'clock in the morning, coming across North Georgia there, and then picking up here as we go into the going into the morning hours there. So looking at that going here, you see the heavier snows there. Again, the European model is a little bit further to the west here. You see the darker blue coming in a little bit to the west, a little bit further west here where the heavier snows, and then it pulls on out to sea, and it's done. So again, looking at the time frame, it looks like we're wrapping up into the evening hours, and we're done. So again, a lot of church services going to be closed on Sunday once again, to back-to-back weekends with that because of what's going on. But this one's going to be definitely a little more pronounced. All right, let's look at snow totals. That's the fun part, right? Let's go look at the snows. All right, so here goes the NAM snow totals here. All right. Now, it is basically showing here, you got 4 inches up here near Gainesville, 2.5. This is definitely on the lower end. There's 3 inches there, 3 inches there. Here's a 4.5. You got a little bit of a dusting back here to the west. Not a lot there in Metro Atlanta. So that's the NAM model. The rapid one really scares me if this goes true because it looks like a lot of Georgia misses this, and it's just the eastern counties only. And this is the rapid refresh model, favoring that just a little bit here in the west. You got nothing like Gwinnett, absolutely nothing on that model. Showing, I know a lot of folks going boo on that one out of Gwinnett. And then here is the European model. Now this one, of course, is everybody's favorite one because it's definitely been the most aggressive, which is very kind of unusual. I would suspect that from the GFS, but to see the European do it, you got almost 7 inches here. There's 4.5 at Gainesville. Dalton showing 2.5 over here. North Atlanta showing 3 inches there, 3.5 over there next to getting over into Gwinnett County. You got 4.5 inches over there next to Athens. Here's a 7.5 over there, Elberton there. So again, look at this back over in the Carolinas, very, very high, showing 10 inches over that way. So I don't think we're going to get quite that high, but this is the most aggressive there. Here's the GFS. They're lining up pretty well. GFS is slightly more to the right, but showing generally 4, 5, 6 inches in there, which is the official forecast. And then lastly, this model here, which is the Canadian one, it kind of lines up with the European. They're both pretty much on par there. Again, showing 3, 4, 5 inches of snow. So again, that seems to be pretty much the retrospect there. My only concern, like I said, is that the ratios might be just a little bit higher, maybe. Just kind of throwing that out there, just in case. But that's how it goes. That's part one of our weather story. The other part of our weather story going here for tomorrow is we got to talk about the winds, and we got to talk about the wind chills. Those are a very important thing here, because as the snows are coming in, we're gonna have the winds coming in here. So I'm not saying if we're gonna have blizzard type conditions, but this is gonna be very light, fluffy snow, and you bring in some winds, we're gonna blow that snow all over the place. So we're gonna have some potential whiteout potential here for some of the heavier snows in the eastern zones as the winds come up here. Look at these winds coming in here at 1 o'clock. 40 miles per hour, not as bad on the eastern side here. Okay, not as bad. This is where the heavier snows will be coming in. It's still 19, 23, 24, 30 mile per hour winds, but 40 mile per hour winds, it could cause some sporadic power outages, maybe. 40 mile, it shouldn't be anything widespread, but that kind of wind might cause some sporadic power outages. And then on top of that, while we got this wind coming on in here, we got to talk about the wind chill. That's going to be very low. All right, so that's definitely a problem here. I'm going to show you the apparent temperature here on this model. Again, this is at 11 o'clock in the morning. We got single digits. This gray here is below 0. Again, this is where the higher moisture content is going to be, so it's not going to feel quite as cold there, but still going to the afternoon, we're dropping into the single digits here, folks. By 5 o'clock, everybody here, single digits and below 0. That's why we have the extreme cold weather warning out right now, because of these very frigid cold temperatures that we're going to see here all across North Georgia. So, and that'll linger straight into Sunday morning. Look at all that gray there. That's below 0 temperatures going into Sunday morning. Bitterly cold temperature. I mean, single digits going all the way down into South Georgia. I mean, that is just something to see the whole state, down on the coast. Everybody kind of getting in on this with that extreme cold. So, putting this warning out there, because if you got any kids that want to go out and play in the snow, it's nice. Again, just make sure they're dressed appropriately. That means they're wearing hats. They're wearing gloves. They're covering their ears. It's going to be quite cold. They're probably going to be going in and out, going out for a little while, come back in, that kind of thing, especially you folks in the eastern zones where the snow is favored the most. So just make sure you're safe with the kids. So my forecast, this is what we're looking at here as far as the forecast is concerned. Let me get that up here if I can remember where I put it. Hold on a second. I will find it. I think, it's down here. So where did I put that thing? I'm having a brain cramp here. Oh, here it is. So now, we're going to be watching this very closely, folks. We got a whole network of cameras who've been getting this all going. Looks like they go all back up here. So now Brasstown Bald, which is currently at 7 degrees, by the way, they're up pretty high. We're probably not going to be able to see them very well. But the other cameras will be able to watch, like Helen. They're currently at 25. Good to see they've got all the power back up there. We got Blairsville. Oh, that camera went down there for a second. It was working a minute ago, but I promise you I'll look at that camera here in a second. Lake Chattooga, we'll look up there, 26 degrees there. We got Sky Valley, 21 degrees there as well. We got Lake Lanier. We'll look at how things go down toward the lake. We got Dalton. We got the Dalton camera up there. We'll look up there. We got UGA. There's the Athens campus. We got Dahlonega. This one I got to help it every now and then. It gets stuck when it's refreshing. So I just got to get a little kick there. So here's the Dahlonega camera here coming up there. It goes pretty sunrise there. Wow, looks nice there at Dahlonega. Very nice indeed. And then, of course, we got the Fox 5 cameras, which I will be working there next weekend. So another weekend where I am not off. But you see the Atlanta cams here. We'll look at those as well. So, again, we got lots here to talk about. Now, the other thing we're going to talk about here real quick, we're going to be paying very close attention. We were showing this last time. We'll show it again. We'll be tracking the road conditions. Everybody remembers Snowmageddon back in 2014. So they added all these sensors here to all the roads here to monitor the temperatures on the roads. I get a lot of the road temperatures right now are below freezing. They're going to be below freezing for tomorrow, and they're going to ice up very quickly. So the bridges, overpasses, even the main interstates, they're going to freeze up pretty good. My guess is a lot of people are going to be off the roads anyway come tomorrow with this thing coming on in. So these roads are going to ice up here very quickly, and that will linger into Sunday. Okay, that's going to happen. All right, so folks need to be prepared, like I said, to be stuck with this. And then for right now, the next 7 days, I do not see any potential winter storms coming in behind this. Okay, last week we were flirting with one the following weekend. The GFS model was kicking out one for this weekend. Not the same setup, not even remotely the same setup, but it was burying Atlanta in like 2 to 3 feet of snow. So there was something hinting at something was coming down. We knew we were going to have a polar vortex visitor coming down this weekend, but now it turned into this winter event that's been going over here slowly but surely. All right, that is y'all's update here for today. The plan ahead, just to show you what I've got ahead here for today. We will have our next live update coming at 3 o'clock. YouTube, you will get a recording. It just does a little bit better with those updates, with the algorithm for me to record that and put it up. So we'll live on Facebook. We will do the recording over on YouTube, which, by the way, on YouTube, I'm going to put a little special intro. I think you'll like it. That's my teaser that I'm going to put on front of that video for you guys on the YouTube side. All right, now, Facebook, make sure you hit that follow button. YouTube, you got to hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification bell. Very important to get that, and make sure you stay up on the latest and greatest out there. We got 319 of you guys out there on YouTube right now. Make sure you are a subscriber and make sure you hit that notification bell. All right, we're going to stay on top of this the whole time. My plan right now is tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., somewhere in there, start a live broadcast at that time, and we're just going to stay up and we'll watch the cameras, we'll watch the models, we'll see how it's going. We'll hold off on drinking beer until the afternoon. I'll wait till after the 12 o'clock hour. We'll just have some Mr. Pibb in the morning, Dr. Pepper in the morning, and we'll switch over to some, Michelob Ultra in the afternoon as we watch and see what happens with the situation. First and finally, before I get going, I do want to say thank you, everybody. My intent is to build a 24-hour weather channel here, and us growing our numbers. We're gonna be knocking on the door to 70,000 on Facebook. I think we may make a run at maybe 10,000 here on the YouTube side. And those numbers are going to be very important because that allows me to be able to go to a potential big sponsor to put up the additional capital we need to build the professional set, bring in the right weather equipment. And I made good money this month, and I'm going to buy all my new cameras I'm getting, new lights, teleprompter. Every dime I make out of this endeavor goes back in the channel, 100% of it. Because I don't want to be taxed on this stuff this year. It's all going back in the channel. So hopefully we'll build something pretty nice for you that the community can enjoy, and we can build upon here in 2026. All right, that's it for now. You guys take it easy. We'll see you guys back later today. Just get yourself prepared, and we'll see how this works out for you. Like I said, not everybody's going to get the big snows, but that's okay. We can deal with it. All right, we'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.